Hi and welcome to Fabricville. Today, to celebrate spring's arrival, we're going to sew an insulated lunch bag and a matching bottle holder. We'll be using the Micols M6338 pattern. For the fabrics, we'll need several layers: an insulating layer, fusible interfacing, a lining fabric, a contrasting cotton, and a thicker fabric for the outer part of the bag. Here I'm using denim. First, I apply the interfacing to the denim pieces and fuse it with the iron. Then I place the insulating layer on top and baste the edges together. Now let's prepare the outer pockets for the bag. I fold the rectangles in half, I sew the long edges together, then press open. Next, I press the piece with the seam centered at the back. I place the pocket on the right side of the bag, following the pattern markings, and pin it in place, and I baste the edges. I attach the bag straps, following the pattern's guide. When both sides are ready, I place them right sides together and sew the bottom edges together. I press the seams open, placing a piece of cotton fabric on top to protect the insulating material that could melt. Then I top stitch from the right side. Next, I sew the sides together. Now we're going to add depth to the bag by forming the corners. I open the corners, align the edges, and sew. Next, I press the top edge of the bag inward with the iron. Then I turn the bag to the right side. Now I assemble the lining pieces at the bottom edges and sides. I press the seams open, and like before, I form the corners. Let's move on to the top part of the bag. It consists of two rectangles that I stack, leaving an opening at the marked spot on the pattern. I open the seams with the iron, then I top stitch the contour of the openings we left in the side seams. Next, I fold the piece inward, aligning the unfinished edges. I press, then baste the edges together. I stitch two parallel lines along the folded edge, following the pattern's instructions to create a casing for the future cord. Now I attach the bag's lining to the top piece of the bag. I pin them right sides together and stitch. I slide the lining into the bag with wrong sides together, and I pin the top edge of the bag that we folded earlier to the base of the top part. Then I top stitch along the bag's hem. Finally, I thread the cords through the casing using a safety pin. There are two cords, each going around the bag in opposite directions. Then I tie the ends of the cords together. Let's move on to the bottle holder. I assemble the layers in the same way as for the bag. I stack the denim pieces right sides together and sew the top edges. Then I do the same for the lining. I open the seams with an iron. Next, I place the lining on the fabric and sew the curved parts together. I clip the seam allowances. and press open. Then I turn it to the right side. I pin, lining with the lining and denim with denim. Then sew. I spread the corners so the side and bottom seams meet, then press. Next, I stitch to replace the corners with rounded edges and trim the allowance. I fold the lining inside the bag and pin the bottom edge, then sew. Finally, I turn it to the right side. And to finish the bottle holder, I top stitch the edges at 5 mm. And there you have it, our set is complete. If this has inspired you to try this project, feel free to send us photos of your bags. Thanks for watching and see you soon!